All I know is that I never want to be stranded in the Georgian mountains. That is some crazy terrain. When Abby, a guilt-ridden engineering geologist in transit from her remote assignment, survives a mysterious helicopter crash, she must try to escape the harsh environment. But she is not alone. So The Occupant is a survival thriller that then mixes in some emotional family dynamics and a touch of sci-fi. It stars Ella Balinska and Rob Delaney, where the premise is that as Balinska, who is Abby, a talented geologist who went on a dig in order to secure some fast cash that her family needs. Now, as she's returning home, she's stranded in the mountain range between Georgia and Russia, with only a semi-working walkie-talkie and a voice on the other end. Although she's been in several things, I was very unfamiliar with Ella Balinska, other than she was in that Netflix Resident Evil series, and I tapped out of that after about 10 minutes. That is not the actress's fault, though. Here, she's intelligent, strong, very driven, and extremely committed to making it out of these treacherous mountainsides. Balinska made being resourceful come across as a natural for this character, somebody who's more than capable, but not a superhero. She's able to succumb to the elements and the tragedy just like anybody else. And that's a great thing for the storytelling because as her journey continues on past hours and then into days, the stress and the anxiety ramp up as one obstacle after another threatens to thwart her progress. Now, the cinematography for this film, it is stunning. We have many sweeping shots that showcase how beautifully daunting and awe-inspiring the mountain ranges are. Some are densely tree-lined, others are jagged with rocky cliffs, and then almost all of them are topped with snow. And then when that's combined with either fog or some cloud cover, the environment transitions from serenely vast into something that is waiting to violently engulf anybody who enters. There are multiple scenes where the camera is so far away that Abby becomes this tiny little moving dot on the grandeur of a mountain slope. And this works to illustrate the extreme isolation and then the peril that she's enduring and facing. But for as beautiful as these establishing and then scenery shots are, they do become a distraction just thanks to how often they're utilized within the storytelling. I mean, we get it. The terrain is horribly difficult to cross, and death is pretty much just one wrong step away at any given moment. But thanks to the frequency these wide, sweeping shots are included, it almost becomes a nature documentary meant to highlight the cinematographer's talent. And it's not wrong. I mean, some of this is going to take your breath away, but it doesn't assist in the pacing. Rob Delaney plays John, the voice on the other end of the radio who is encouraging Abby, while simultaneously aggravating her just thanks to the continual chatter. Delaney mixes the right amount of calmness and sincerity with his line delivery to just make him warm and inviting, while also maintaining a bit of snark to just create some spur-of-the-moment chuckles every now and then. And for so much of the movie, the dynamic between Abby and John is showcased only through dialogue exchanges. Despite not being able to watch them interact face to face, there's good chemistry that creates a slight sense of encouragement that's mixed in with the surrounding dread. I'd mentioned the family aspect at the very beginning, and while it isn't something that dominates the storytelling in a visual way, it's ever present in motivations. We get a quick intro at the start of the film with Abby and her sister. And while it's brief, it does allow us to understand Abby's urgent drive to take on this job that's so far away from her family. And sprinkled throughout the film are flashbacks to moments Abby experienced before she departed. And these add pressing necessity to Abby's drive, so that her fearless trek is deeper and then more meaningful than just a simple will to survive. I think despite the sporadic sequences of family interactions we see, the sentiment still translates well, and then it's believable. About halfway through this, I had a light bulb moment and thought I had figured out what was going on within the story. Thankfully, I was kinda wrong. I mean, the idea was in the right direction, but if you're watching this and you get that inkling where you've maybe seen the story with familiar outcomes before, you're on the right track. But it may not fully resolve in how you're expecting. Now, for the sci-fi aspect, this is very subtle and nuanced. It's not even a major focus or storytelling device for much of what we watch. Some of the effects that were shown, they're impressively created, and they look convincing, but they're also used so sparingly that it creates a more grounded feel to the perilous journey that Abby's on. That's not necessarily the case, though, as we venture into the final act. And where the story falters, it's towards the end. The conclusion, it comes across as two separate endings. So when one aspect comes to a close and it appears that the film is done, we then pick back up and keep going. The false climax, it created a choppy, almost unsure or hesitant resolution. Like the director didn't want to take the audience all the way through this arduous hike and then disappoint with some polarizing finale. But by not choosing one over the other, we get a safe ending instead of taking a risk and delivering a finish that just might tick some people off. And that's not to say, though, that the ending is poorly executed, because it's not. It wraps up the story well. I think it's just the idea of here's one ending and then here's another that disappoints me the most. There's also a break with the groundedness that held throughout so much of the story. I didn't outright call BS, but one aspect, it felt undercooked. Like the concept was there and the rationale was thought about, but not fully developed in a way that made it feel intertwined throughout every aspect of the story. And although I'm going to contradict myself a bit here, I do appreciate the moral dilemma that's raised for Abby through the sci-fi aspect. It's pointed and direct, and it also adds another layer of complexity, or at least growth opportunity to her character. In the final act, it's also where the movie goes a bit off the rails. I mean, there is harrowing tension that builds and builds, and masterfully, it doesn't let up as the anxiety and stress double down on each other. And all the way through this, there are continual thrills and nervousness, putting Abby face to face with obstacles that are just designed to end her, all with an established urgency that's a mix of unrelenting determination and then starving exhaustion. I had a lot of fun with The Occupant. It's intense, quiet, beautifully shot, and terrifying, all while maintaining a pressure cooker grip on the audience through Balinska's endless drive. While the ending plays it safe by not selecting one finale over another, and a portion of the story does lose its groundedness, Balinska's dynamic with Delaney create a believable camaraderie that creates a glimmer of hope within the dark dread of the journey. There is no sex or nudity, there is some profanity and some violence. I give The Occupant 3.5 out of 5 couches. So who likes to go on hikes? No. Where is the craziest or most treacherous place you've either walked, climbed, maybe fallen from? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.